Under the veil of shadows within the world of darkness are a host of supernatural creatures which will not hesitate to consume your flesh, blood, mind, or even your soul in a moment's notice. A simple human to many of these creatures is but a source of sustenance in an unforgiving world. Like a flock of sheep dominating every sidewalk, every civilization, it is a bountiful battery farm of potential feasts, or loyal followers that will service a monster at the drop of a hat. And to many ordinary people, they are completely unaware of the fate which may befall them some night or any night. The night that they will meet the deadly fangs or razor-sharp claws just beyond the darkness. Many say that there are no good people within this world, and even evil itself is entirely subjective. But there are a few people that have drawn back the curtains on the hell they reside within, and wish to purge it all through any means necessary. And so, with a goal in their mind and a multitude of deadly weapons in their collective arsenals, these few trek the urban abyss in search for their omnipotent nemesis. The life of a hunter is one of danger, dread, and constant paranoia. For if you kick the hornet's nest, you can only expect deadly consequences. Are you prepared to awaken your eyes truly upon this so-called world of darkness, to battle relentlessly until your gruesome end? Or will you succumb to the whim of these monsters that would gladly torment you until the end of time? Welcome to the life of a hunter, an ordinary person with an extraordinary goal: to kill supernaturals. So, if you enjoy tales about grim universes, or wish to learn more about the world of darkness, perhaps leave a like or even subscribe, as it helps the channel immensely. To relay the history of hunters within this universe is an exceptionally tricky task. Whilst these people may be unified in the occupation of dispatching terrors which reside in the shadows, they are far from being a collective organized force. You may remember our video detailing the pursuits of the Second Inquisition, a global conspiracy which is spearheaded by the Catholic Church to kill vampires. However, whilst this group may have similar disdain for other nightmarish creatures, they are not exactly a Swiss Army knife. The world of hunters is a divided one, and each hunter within this nightmarish field each have a unique goal, or a certain vendetta against a breed of supernaturals. Within the grander scope of the world of darkness, there are a multitude of organizations which are dedicated to collecting members to hunt their preferred prey. One of these are referred to simply as compacts, or the second tier of organization within the hunter world. These are often groups which are privately financed or personally compiled, with their memberships often being strictly limited. There are a variety of differing compacts of which a hunter can find themselves enlisting within, and whilst these groups may slay supernaturals irrespective of their cursed species, some are tailor-fit to destroy their so-called chosen prey. Take for instance the compact known as Division 6, a hunting group of which harbors members linked to the United States government. These so-called operatives will most likely hunt most supernaturals, but they have a certain creature within their sights, the so-called witches, or otherwise known as awakened mages. Conspiracies, on the other hand, are an elevation of compacts. These are global organizations which often take their influence and funding directly from nation-states or governments, and in many cases have been operating since ancient times. These groups range from esteemed orders of warriors who vow to end a supernatural species' reign over the world, to top-secret government entities closely tied to organizations such as the FBI or a national military. Within the most recent iteration of Hunter the Reckoning, there are a variety of organizations, simply referred to as orgs, which operate with similarly unified goals. These range from governmental to religious or even corporate goals. What unifies all of these aspects, however, is the divisions between these groups. Every group is unique, yet their individual differences also come with opposing aims and outcomes. Hunters, whilst unified in the ambition to bring about the so-called reckoning, are in many cases their own greatest enemy. As for those who have peeked behind the curtain of darkness, will perceive the world in their own unique ways. Some will wish to tear it down, whilst others may wish to bargain with it. Each choice comes with its own unique consequence. However, perhaps a greater divide is torn between two styles of hunter. The normal people that risk their mortal lives without any supernatural intervention, or the imbued, a perhaps long-lost relic of hunters past, which were granted certain gifts to fully awaken to the darkness around them. The imbued are an interesting topic for discussion, and are in many ways a great contrast to hunters found within Hunter the Vigil or the new edition of Hunter the Reckoning. These are hunters which are aligned with the Abrahamic subtext of the old world of darkness, which often expands and morphs biblical stories to fit a global context. These hunters were, in life, average people who were completely blind to the nightmare of which they resided within. However, all of this changed with a single esoteric phrase, or perhaps even a single word planted within their mind. Suddenly, for these people chosen to awaken from their blissful ignorance, were now fully aware of the complete tragedy of which their life was placed within. Figures of which they presumed to be friends, colleagues even, may be destructive creatures which preyed upon their so-called friends for an easy meal. People in the street may reveal themselves to have monstrous fangs or decaying flesh, revealing their true form to the chosen imbued. It is at this point where this seemingly average person can reject these visions and rescind back to their life of normality and unseen terror, or to accept the world as it truly is, and combat those that stalk the streets, often side by side with regular bystanders. Once someone has been imbued, however, they can never return to a normal life. So, where did this message come from? Supposedly, the messengers, these beings of which the imbued unconsciously follow, are the last remaining angels upon Earth, hypothesized to be the figures of Ebon Dragon and the Scarlet Queen. These figures have been linked to many of the supernatural creatures and ideologies within the old world of darkness, from the Kuei Jin to the elusive demons of the Fallen. Lucifer himself spoke of these beings, stating them to be the last of the Elohim, and they have been linked to also manifesting as Gaia and other godly beings within this dark and complex world. The power of which these mysterious beings utilize is immense, and have bestowed gifts upon these ordinary mortals, not only affording them their convictions, but also minor supernatural powers known as edges. These unique powers are utilized to offer resistance to the forces of the supernaturals, and can often aid with tracking and eventually vanquishing them from their cursed existence. These powers are limited in their supply, and are often tailored to a hunter's virtue and creed. The imbued often fall within three of these categories, either being visionary, merciful, or zealous. It is possible for a hunter who is imbued with these supernatural powers to fall into a craze over their devotion to the hunt and the gifts that they receive from the divine. However, hunters that have progressed to a life of full servitude to the hunt often live very short lives. Whilst these hunters are afforded strength from the divine, they live no less of a tragic existence within the world of darkness. They might be gifted, yet they are, at their source, ordinary humans who have been cursed with abominable knowledge. The imbued, whilst they are an interesting element to the hunting world, are an exception to the rule. Most hunters, even if they are enlightened to the world around them, are afforded little to no assistance supernaturally to combat the monsters around them. For many, the only powers they can afford are an arsenal of specialized weaponry and a group of trusted comrades. However, when your hunt is against beings which can run at you at supersonic speeds, or withstand a hailstorm of bullets, what chance do these ordinary people have against these beasts? Humanity, whilst it is typically inferior to these creatures, has come up with a variety of solutions to this problem, and many of these solutions are high-tech and extremely deadly. To a normal human not gifted with second sight or the powers of true faith, detecting a supernatural is extremely difficult. Yet this is an issue modern technology has aimed to subvert. Chaos scopes, or coronal halo analyzing oscilloscopic electromagnetic differential readers, if you wish to be fancy, are truck or van-mounted surveillance devices, which can detect disruptions in electromagnetic frequencies, which are often caused by supernatural creatures, particularly wraiths, demons, or elder vampires. A skilled operative is tasked to intricately read these disturbances, as they can distinguish different supernaturals from each other from their unique effects on the equipment. However, such a large piece of tech is often only serviceable by government agents, especially those of the Special Affairs Department. X-scopes, on the other hand, are employed in almost every major hub where surveillance is key. Airports, security checkpoints, and borders all have these devices planted covertly by nation-states or governments whom are aware of the presence of particularly vampires. They detect whether a person's vitals are abnormal, and the latest version of this hardware can even detect when a kindred attempts to mimic a mortal's vitals. These can be deployed as cumbersome machines or portable camera-like devices, which prove vital for usage amongst vigilantes or personal cells of hunters. However, spotting a supernatural is only half of the task. You now must dispatch them quickly before their cursed bodily weapons can cleave your body into bloody giblets. Fire is perhaps the most common element hunters utilize to combat the supernatural. Incendiary ammunition such as dragon breath shotgun shells or Raufoss rounds are an excellent way to turn a supernatural beast's night into one of pure fiery pain. Flamethrowers and improvised incendiary weapons will also suffice, and are especially popular amongst smaller cells of hunters, where government sponsorship is simply not a factor. For more ancient orders of hunters, they may call upon their vast libraries and vaults of arcane artifacts. These are often damned and cursed objects, which if used carefully can be extremely useful to the hunt. The conspiracy known as Aegis Kaidoru has immense access to such artifacts. These range from a mask, which if placed upon a corpse can summon the body to recall speech and memory, to talismans and amulets which can nullify spells and disciplines, or create supernatural weaponry which will deal destructive, aggravated damage to their opponents. Perhaps the most powerful and comically destructive weapon is one which can only be fired from a secure unit or vehicle. This is the Mjolnir cannon. A weapon truly out of the pages of science fiction. It acts similarly to a ray gun, firing a devastating electromagnetic beam which can incinerate any supernatural. Even for ordinary people not imbued with any divine rights or supernatural powers, they still very much have a fighting chance within this horrific world. They may be outclassed in a variety of different ways, but the mortal spirit to persist is unwavering amongst all hunters. For all these people in the world of darkness know that once you have chosen to take up arms against the creatures of the night, there is no going back. Thank you for watching. Covering the concept of hunters within the world of darkness is, as you might have gathered, a rather complex task. I don't tend to cover Chronicles of Darkness content, but as newer editions of The Reckoning have borrowed quite a lot of influence from Hunter the Vigil, I thought it would be necessary to shed light on the diversity this series has to offer. So, let me know what you thought about this video in the comments below, and what you would like to see next. If you enjoyed this installment, perhaps offer a like, or even subscribe to support the channel. And so, until next time, stay safe, and do not wander naively into the night.